It's funny when you're married to the minister and you're leading worship. He says this morning, have you got your centering thought together? Yeah. What is it? I said, well, you're just going to have to wait and find out. He said, oh, come on. I said, what, you don't trust me? So I'm sure that you were most in the same boat that I was in on Wednesday morning. Woke up and checked the news and thought, oh, God, did this really just happen? So I thought, I'm going to give myself a day to lick my wounds. And then I'll figure out how to respond. I can't figure out everything, but I can figure out what is in my circle of influence. So this is what I've decided is in my circle of influence. I can be present for the small children in my life. Most of you know I'm an elementary school librarian. I have kindergarten, first grade, and preschool. I have 2 grandchildren, a 2-year-old and an almost 10-year-old. I'm going to be especially present for the ones on the margins, the ones that are our immigrant families, our ones that are our people of color, and our ones that are lower income. And then a friend of me sent me this post. It is by a woman named Venice Williams. She is a Black woman who is the director of Alice's Garden and Table in Milwaukee. She's a lay minister, she's a teacher, a healer, and a facilitator. And this is entitled, Here's How We Get Through the Next 4 Years. You are awakening to the same country you fell asleep to, the very same country. Pull yourself together. And when you see me, do not ask me, what do we do now? Or how do we get through these next 4 years? Some of my ancestors dealt with at least 400 years of this under worse conditions. Continue to do good work. Continue to build bridges, not walls. Continue to lead with compassion. Continue the demanding work of liberation for all. Continue to dismantle broken systems, large and small. Continue to set the best example for the children. Continue to be a vessel of nourishing joy. Continue right where you are, right where you live into your days. Do so in the name of the Creator who expects nothing less from each of us. And if you are not continuing all of the above in community, partnership, and collaboration, what is it you have been doing? And what is it you are waiting for? Now is the point in our meeting for worship.
Lost audio. We lost audio.
We lost audio.
There we go.
There we go.
I'm assuming what you did was ask for joys and concerns from the Zoom people. Lost audio again. Okay, can you hear me now?
Okay, now we are starting with our Zoom attenders, and we're going to start with announcements.
Okay, so we have several people on from Zoom today. And I would like for anybody who has anything to say to go ahead and speak up.
This is Diane. I wanted to remind everybody that
have you lost me again? Can you hear me, Joanne?
Yes.
I wanted to remind you that donations for the holiday cheer bags are due in 2 weeks on the 24th. The cheer bags go to shut-ins and people in the meeting that need some care right now. And it's just a small token from the meeting to let them know that we haven't forgotten about them and that we care about them.
Okay, Dinah, would you like those items put in the conference room?
I think that I'd put in the newsletter to put them in the USFW room right inside the dining room to the left and just put a note on it that that's what they're for. The
Very good.
holiday cheer bags is what they're for.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Dinah, and thank you for heading that up. I don't see anyone else on Zoom. I will remind the ladies in the book club, we're having our last discussion on this book today after Rise of Worship. Do we have any other announcements in the meeting house?
To impede the ladies' luncheon a little bit because we have lots of food out there left, and I hope they eat some of it. Feel free. Anybody that wants to just take home some, if anything, like there used to be a dozen muffins and now there's only 9. Take them home, just take them home, don't worry about it. There are some complete unopened bottles of milk and orange juice and some uncut loaves of fancy bread and things. Any of that, I put the donation basket there. Leave what you want, take it, make it go away. And thank you to everybody that helped.
Thank you, Ann.
Hi, this is Sue Walton, and just a reminder for those of you in the area, on Wednesday at 4 o'clock, the Avon Christian Church will break ground on 16 affordable houses. And if you would like to attend, give me an email and I'll get you the link because you have to RSVP. This is a start. This is a start for Family Promise and other things. And incidentally, here's a food for thought. I know that Family Promise there is a definite need for more housing, and they are starting to ask Western Yulee Meeting if they can use their downstairs. And here's a thought: do we offer our facility to help out? And this would not be for a week at a time, it would be for a month. This is things down the road, how we can help our community, which is important. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue.
Hi, this is Deborah. For Books and Brunch, I donated a bunch of my beloved science fiction and fantasy stories. So if any of you feel a deep desire to be off planet, we got you fixed up out there.
Phil would ask that you wait until the Rise of Worship. I mean, don't just beeline out there right now, okay? Let's hold it together. So.
Ann Gauthier, I'm still looking for someone who might be able to help us with a truck to move things from Beth Sakevich's apartment to an apartment here in Indianapolis, a family that's in a hotel right now that is moving in, but they don't have many things, and so if anyone has a truck, Chris and I always move everything around in our van, but it won't fit in there. So,
okay,
still looking.
There's an opportunity. Any more announcements? Okay, now we will turn our attention to joys and concerns. Do we have anyone on Zoom that has a joy or concern to share?
This is Dinah. It's a joy to be Jill Riley on Zoom. And also, I hope you will welcome Alistair Reed from the UK. He's sounds like a long time waiter there, and this is his first time. And I'm wondering if he'd like to bring us from friends, the UK.
Good morning, everyone. This is Alistair Reed from Troon in the west coast of Scotland. We were bearing you all in mind after worship in our meeting this morning, and we wish you the best for the next 4 years and for many years afterwards.
Thank you very much. It's good to have you with us. At this time, we'll ask Cindy Streetelmeyer to come up to do our community prayer. We're grateful today and always for places like this one, where we can join our concerns and joys, celebrations, deep worries. We thank you, Lord, for helping us learn here and other places how to help and how to accept help. We're called to action or calmed to wait for you, to sing out or to mourn. We hold these things we bring in your light, these lives we love, these cares. Tune us to the light around us, within us, and even where it might surprise us. Tune us to live as grateful descendants of so many people who came before us doing good in the world, whether they would see it bear fruit in their time or not. Tune us to be dedicated and love-filled people who pick up that good work and serve as worthy ancestors for those who come after us. They may see the fruit that we miss. Remembering your love and light, we set out again every day to walk the way of mercy, justice, humility, and love, together in the light. We're grateful. Amen. It is at this time in our meeting for worship that we gather food in the baskets to feed those less fortunate than us. Do not be dismayed by the brokenness in the world. All things break, and all things can be mended. Not with time, as they say, but with intention. So go, love intentionally, extravagantly, and unconditionally. The broken world waits in darkness for the light that is you.
So, I'm Michael Nerman.
Ashley, you mentioned wanting to pull your hair out. Don't do that. I used to do that, and it didn't end well. So be careful with that. Be careful with that. Well, as Joanne said, Stacy Denny's mother has been up at Life's Journey there on 10th Street in hospice, and I was there the other day visiting and walked in the door and noticed bookshelves filled with religious books. And I always go check those out to see if my books are there, and they never are, which can only mean that people treasure them so much they don't donate them to. But there was this bookshelf filled with religious books, including a book called Heaven, written by a man named Randy Alcorn, who I met 30 years ago when I started writing books. So I picked it up and looked at the flyleaf, and it said that the Reverend Dr. Randy Alcorn was the world's foremost expert on heaven. Since I thought that was interesting, since he's still alive, that's kind of like me being the world's foremost expert on Tanzania without ever having visited there. At some point, expertise should involve a trip, don't you think? Nevertheless, Randy is an expert on heaven, and the first thing he wants us to know is that heaven is a city, which right there makes me not want to go, since I've always preferred the countryside. Contrary to popular belief, the Reverend Doctor said there aren't many harps, not as many harps as we have been led to believe. I don't know who started the harp rumor, but Randy Alcorn isn't buying it. He does think there are talking animals in heaven, not that he has seen them firsthand, mind you, because again, he hasn't actually been there. According to Randy, our pets will be in heaven, which is nice, since most everyone else will likely be in hell. Population experts say that since man first came along, humanity first came along, there have been 100 billion people here on Earth, and Randy says only a little over 2 billion of them have been Bible-believing Christians, which means only 2% of the people who've ever been born are in heaven. I have the feeling he's not counting Episcopalians and Unitarians and smart-alecky Quaker pastors. I just have that feeling. Now, this is what I don't understand, and perhaps why I'm so bad at religion. But have you ever noticed religion's tendency to know everything about things we've never seen, places we've never been, and beings we've never met, but far too often cannot see the evil staring them in the face, cannot see the tyranny close at hand, cannot hear the hateful chant, cannot taste the bitter bile of greed. How can religion know so much about things that matter so little, and so little about things that matter so much? Why do religions have such clarity about the invisible while remaining clueless about the visible? We've been talking about the do's and don'ts in times of change. Let's add this to our list. In times of change, make every effort to see what you're not seeing. Look carefully at what is escaping your notice and the notice of others. See what others aren't seeing. Despite my tortured relationship with religion, I love being a Quaker. And I especially love being a Quaker in times like these. Because when times are good, when the sun of justice is radiant and full, when the stranger is welcomed, when there's scarcely any difference between the haves and have-nots,
There isn't much for a Quaker to do. And while we are grateful for good times, we were not built for them. Quakers were not built for the easy times. We were born for the hard, uncomfortable, difficult times. If you want to see Quakers come alive, give us a challenge, a wrong to be righted, an injustice to be identified and resolved. Do you know what we're doing when we gather each week? We're practicing our caring. We're practicing our caring. When our son Sam was a flight medic in Alaska 2 or 3 times a week, in weather good and bad, they'd get on the helicopter, fly to some remote spot, and practice helping someone. They did this so that when they were actually needed, they would be ready. They were prepared. We've been doing the same thing, practicing our caring, and now we're needed. Now we are needed, and we are prepared. So let there be no whining. Let there be no excuses that we are unable to make a difference, that we are unprepared to face this hour. This is the moment for which we have been practicing. Quakers have always spent the easier times preparing for the harder times. When the mother of Quakerism, Margaret Fell, visited the prisoners, petitioned the king, and cared for the poor, she was putting into place the lessons she'd practiced in the easier times. When John Woolman traveled among friends denouncing slavery, he was putting into practice the lessons he had learned in the easier times. When Bayard Rustin, that angelic troublemaker, was working with Martin Luther King Jr., he was putting into place the lessons he had practiced in the easier times. Let's not say for a moment that we are not up for this moment. Of course we are. We have been practicing. Now is not the time for hangdog expressions. Now is not the time to let our shoulders droop and spirits flag. We are Quakers, and we've been practicing. We are ready for this. When Jesus was a child teaching in the temple, he was practicing in the easy times to be ready for the hard times. This is perhaps the most important reason we come to meeting on Sunday morning. In his book on heaven, Randy Alcorn said the purpose of church in heaven was to worship God as if God is some narcissistic egomaniac demanding homage or else. I don't believe that for a moment. We come to meeting on Sunday to practice within these walls the work we'll be doing outside these walls. We come here to see what might otherwise escape our notice, to discern together those things that matter. My mom and dad moved out of our childhood home in 2005 to a smaller house. It was my mom's idea. She said she was tired of maintaining a big house. She wanted a smaller house where she could finally relax. It didn't last long. A month after they moved into their new little house, a family from Guatemala moved in across the street, a man, a woman, and 2 little girls. The man abandoned them. So the woman was left to provide for herself and her children. She didn't speak a word of English, didn't own a car. So my mom, a retired teacher, went to work teaching the woman English, taking her to the grocery store, teaching her how to mow a lawn. I didn't even know my mother could mow a lawn, and apparently she had been practicing. She enrolled the girls in school, tutored them, found the mother a job, helped the mother apply for citizenship, and a year later drove them to the federal building downtown to be sworn in as American citizens. This is what my mother did. I now realize she had spent her adult life practicing in the good times in order to make a difference in the bad times. And you've been doing it too. You've been doing it too, all of you. I know you well enough to know that about you. Now, our nation needs us. Our world needs us. It needs our deep devotion to democracy. It needs our expertise, our experience, our renewed commitment to decency and human dignity. We are Quakers. We are up to the challenge. Coursing through our spiritual veins runs the lifeblood of those Quakers who've come before us, righting the wrong, loving the unloved, lifting those of low estate, leaving in our wake a tidal wave of hope and healing. We have been preparing, and we are ready.
So this thought comes from yesterday. It's been stewing in me. I've been trying to find the words. Yesterday I had the ick after 2 vaccinations, and it really came to me when I was having a mocktail and gourmet mac and cheese. So yesterday was kind of an interesting cross-section. Like many, this week I felt a range of emotions. Probably the stages of grief. But yesterday was some insight. I was just out doing my thing as I had this ick and a headache that would just not go away. I was running to Costco. For those who know me, I'm very into model railroading. Bless my partner who's been with me for 2.5 years, for tolerating my hobby, which sometimes runs around the house. Anyway, I go to a train store, and it's run by a gentleman. I won't name his name or the location, but he's, I think, going through a hard time right now. He's having trouble with his van. Can't afford to get it replaced. But while I was there searching for my next little joy to my layout, he decided to communicate to me how he felt we should handle murderers. And I won't say what he said, but I don't know why he felt the need to bestow such a horrific idea on me, but it made me think of things I've heard here. How do I respond to this? Do I just sit and listen and do I not say anything? And I took a moment and I said to him, well, if we do that, then we become what we are against. And I think that it made him take pause. I don't know if that'd do that for everybody, but he took pause, and I thought about that. So later, when I'm having my fancy mac and cheese and at my local establishment, talking to some friends who are waiters there, I heard people talking about community, how we're going to be here for each other in these hard times, and that was really beautiful to me. Notion that we need to build our communities. It is so important right now. And in that, it really came to me, why did he take pause earlier when I said an opinion contrary to his own, the guy at the store? We spoke in the terms of we, the importance of we. We is what we have. And in that, I hear right now in times like these, it's times of you did this, accusations. The power of we is togetherness, I feel, and we so much need to lean into that. Right now, there are a lot of forces that seek to drive us against each other in media, just in what we consume daily. We're bombarded with it. Someone makes a lot off that, and I think that there's also been a normalization of violence that we must continue to teach each other to rally against. And this battle is one that is not fought with arguments, with hatred. It's fought with compassion. It's fought with love, listening, discussion, helping each other, meeting our needs, building our community. It's fought with we. Anyway, thank you.
Hearts are clear. We will stand and sing from our green hymnal, number 132, Lord, whose love and humble service. Good one. That's a very good one.
And today, instead of a parting word, because you've heard enough from me this morning, we're going to have a parting song. So sit down and enjoy.